School field trips. Bro, everyone knows this, but school field trips were goated. Like, I know a lot of these schools would make us go on some lame field trips, like to the local park, the library, or even another school. But like, you can't lie, those lame field trips still hit. Anything was better than staying inside your classroom, and just the feeling of getting away from your class and walking, taking the public transport, or hopping onto the bus with your whole class just hit different thinking back on it. I miss it, man. So today we're gonna be reminiscing on one of the best things that came from school and my personal experiences with them. So whenever our teacher would announce to the whole class that we'd be going on a field trip, the entire class would start getting hyped as if Super Hot Fire dropped some nasty bars.
Boom, bam, bop, bada bop, boom, pow.
Then the teacher would hand out the forms to all of us, and when I would get home, I would instantly give it to my mom for her to sign it and give me money to pay for the field trip. And I'm not gonna lie, these schools were taxing for these school trips. Like a youngin' like me back then could only afford 10-cent pixie sticks from the corner store. Why is the school taking so much money from me? I wasn't a young baller like that. But yeah, I would hand in that form and be eagerly awaiting the day of the field trip. And bro, when the field trip day came, I'd wake up like I was in some sort of Disney movie. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, I'd walk downstairs to see some delectable breakfast to eat, and then I'd be happily off to school. But when I wake up nowadays, I just want to go straight back to sleep, man. Life was just hitting different on a field trip day. And when we arrived at school, we'd be chilling in the classroom waiting for the rest of the class to arrive. And when they did, we'd leave to head over to board the school bus in a single filed line. Bro, and sometimes on these field trips, we'd be accompanied by a few of our classmates' moms, and they'd either be super chill or be straight up feds, bro. Like, they'd be on your ass at all times. Hey, get off that rock! Hey, don't wander off, stay with the group. Stop talking too loud!
Shut up, bitch!
Like, basically anything you do, let alone breathe, these Karens will be on your ass like 12. Like, goddamn, I didn't know I was playing GTA 5 with 5 stars on me at all times. I gotta go call Lester. Like, just let me explore, man. I'm a young kid and we're like programmed to explore around and discover things. Stop being such a lame. Then let's just talk about how the school buses absolutely sucked. Now the buses, sometimes they'd be absolutely trashed with garbage everywhere, or sometimes they'd be somewhat clean if you were lucky. But most of the time, it was kinda disgusting, and don't get me started on the smell of the school buses. You know, maybe I just haven't adapted to the scent of school buses, cause throughout my life, I've probably only been on a school bus around 10 to 15 times or so, because my house was close enough to the school so I could walk. But dude, I don't know how people handle the smell, cause it smells so artificial and it makes me sick to my stomach. Like, it smells like a bunch of rubber mixed with gasoline or something. But bro, the amount of times I've been on a 3-hour bus ride somewhere, and I'd have to deal with that stomach-turning smell is way too many. And it doesn't help that you can't even open the windows, cause the teachers wouldn't allow you to, so we'd all just be suffocating in that chemical waste air. Like, swear to God, if I could, I would have pulled up with the entire gas mask just to not smell any of that. You know, I feel bad for like the students who have like motion sickness, cause like not only are they just nauseous throughout the whole bus ride, but they also have to smell that stank-ass air. Like, someone needs to start bringing some Febreze to school so we can start spraying it all over the bus. And something else that always bothered me was the absence of seatbelts. Like, if regular cars and trucks have them, why don't school buses also have them for extra safety? Like, what if you get into a car crash and you won't have a seatbelt to prevent you from flying straight ahead? Like, that's just a one-way ticket to the graveyard. Alright, but enough about school buses, we all know they suck. Let's talk about some of the best field trips I've gone on, starting with a farm. Now, everyone has most likely had that field trip where you guys went to a farm to spend the entire day, and they were just always the best. I'm pretty sure I've gone to this farm like 4 times throughout the time I've been in school. It was just that goated. Now, there was a lot to do at the farm. We went picking strawberries and raspberries, and in the fall we'd pick gourds and pumpkins. Our whole class went on a ride on a tractor. We explored the cornfield maze they had. We fed some farm animals, and I remember I tried to feed some chickens in a pen through the fence, and one of them bit my finger. Ah, what the fuck? Bro, that chicken wanted the smoke from these 7-year-old hands back in the day, man. And the best thing they had to be the haystacks. So they had this designated area where a bunch of haystacks were placed around, and the entirety of my class would start playing tag on the haystacks, which is probably up there in the top 10 most fun childhood experiences. Bro, thinking back now, running and hopping onto those haystacks in the nice summer weather was just enough for my 7-year-old self, man. Oh, how the times have changed now. The next field trip we'll talk about is an 1800s village. Now, this village was basically a recreation of what villages looked like back in the day, and we were also learning about pioneers in class, so that's why we went on this field trip. And as a kid, it was really fun exploring the entire village and looking at the difference in architecture of the buildings, especially with my classmates. And they also had all the staff in the village dressed in the 1800s drip to help further immerse us in the realm of the 1800s. And man, people in the 1800s had no drip back in the day, let's keep it real. As like an elementary schooler, I had more drip. The village also had a little zoo where we'd watch some goats, cows, and chickens just chill. Oh yeah, and the lunches we'd have on these field trips were basic as hell, like a sandwich with a juice box and an apple. But hey, they still hit, man. Overall, a pretty good field trip. Now let's talk about one of my top 3 favorite field trips that came from school. And it was a science center. It was basically just a big science museum that had a lot of cool stuff and activities. I've been there like way too many times back in the day, cause the school just knew it was a banger field trip. And your boy was a big Bill Nye the Science Guy fan, so of course it was gonna be a banger trip.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
They had so much cool stuff, like a giant Rube Goldberg machine, a rainforest section with animals, and it actually had humidity like a real rainforest. They had a cave where I tried to scare strangers in and hide from my classmates. They had this tornado machine that required you to run around in circles to form a tornado. This electric ball thing that looks like a Fortnite Rift to Go. And of course, like every museum, they had a gift shop, but I could never buy anything because a young lad had no money. So I would just look at all the merchandise they sold while crying on the inside. Bro, I could keep naming stuff, but we'd be here all day. Hands down, definitely a top 3 field trip that I've experienced in my elementary days. It was a haven for all kids to explore, play, and learn about science, which was cool and fun. The next field trip I'll discuss is an overnight island school. Now, this one was goated. So basically, our whole class stayed overnight at a school on an island for the duration of 3 days. And we basically did fun educational activities each day we were on the island. We shared dorms with another school, and you already know what happens when you see another school on a field trip. Swear to God, it's on site.
I'm making my girlfriend. Works tomorrow. It's Valentine.
At least that's what each student is thinking in their heads. Nothing would actually happen. So just to list a few activities, we went to a haunted lighthouse, and the activity host told us scary stories. We played a game called Predator and Prey, which was basically manhunt with a few extra steps. We biked around the island, we went hiking, they taught us some survival skills, we fed chickadees. We did like a photo scavenger hunt, which required us to use cameras that they gave us to take pictures of things. And we had a nice relaxing night walk through the beach. Bro, they even fed us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, let's go. Man, these were some good times. A funny thing that occurred on this field trip was when it was bedtime, we had to get back to our dorms and into bed. So I quickly went to brush my teeth, and I headed back to my bed and up to the top bunk, and I was ready to sleep. So I laid down, and a few minutes later I hear one of my friends scream, "Good night, sexy people!" And everyone in the dorm was laughing like crazy. We were like in the 5th grade, alright? So that word was pretty funny. It was peak comedy. But yeah, he got in trouble for doing that obviously and had to talk to the teacher. Overall, island school was a W field trip, and I will remember it for the rest of my life. By the time I reached high school, field trips literally became extinct, bro. Like the dinosaurs. They just never appeared again, which sucks because it meant I was in the boring ass classroom more often, and we couldn't experience any fun high school field trips and make more fun memories. But you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. And the moral of this video is to cherish the memories you've made on your school field trips, because eventually they'll stop and you'll miss them. So cherish them while you can. Comment down your favorite and most memorable field trips you went on. I'm out. Hey, if you're bored, go ahead and watch this video on screen. Anyways, I'm out.